Good day to all you gods and goddess out there. You know, it's an amazing day. Tajiri Smith here, and today I come to you guys with a video on how to self-publish or how to write and self-publish your own book. You know, recently I indulged in that. You know, I had to sit down. I had no idea, first of all, before starting, I had no idea how to do anything. You know, the only thing I had was an idea of what I was gonna write about. You know, I had something I was gonna write about. It was something good, and I found a good way to say it and a good way to deliver for people to take it in. I feel like that's the first step. You know, just have something good to write about. You know, you can't write a book without the agenda. You know, you gotta have some type of outline. And you know, the book is called Constructing Essence: The Blueprint to Fulfill Greatness and Limitless Success. I started out, the book was called Keep Your Essence Intact. You know, there was no subtitle. You know, it was a lot of things that I was missing that I just wasn't aware of, you know, because like I said, I never wrote a book. I never thought about writing a book. I didn't even know nobody in my life that had published or wrote a book at all. So, you know, as I started the journey, I just learned. I watched videos on, you know, how to write a book. What do I need in my book? You know, I learned from Iron Golden that you need a subtitle that brings out your title. You know what I'm saying? A subtitle that kind of explains what's going to be in the book. So that's when I added the blueprint to fulfill greatness and limitless success. You know, and it's just been a lot of things, you know, that I learned. I started writing it in February, and then I think I finished it around April. So roughly like two months and some change, you know, but I was writing every day. You know, I had just started playing football. You know, I'm just sitting down writing. And I told myself, okay, I'm gonna do 4 chapters. And then I kind of just broke it down. So what I did first, you know, how I got into structuring my book, you know, I just brainstormed first. I had my topics, and then boom, okay, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about this. And then, you know, as I got my outline for everything, I started writing. You know, it's kind of how like a school paper was, but you know, it was a little more like I had to dig deep. Some days I did have writer's block. Some days I didn't really know what to say. Some days I kind of had to switch things up. I'll write a full page and then have to switch it up. You know, and I also learned that from, I forgot who I listened to that told me that. I forgot who I had talked to that mentioned that, but you know, I like to write it down first. So I have my journal. I'll write everything, pen to paper. And then this is just so I could keep receipts, so in case somebody say I didn't write my book. But you know, I pen to paper, everything, pen to paper. So write it down, then I read it. Then I see, okay, I could have changed this, I could have did this better, I could have did this better. So I start revising it after I write it down. So I revise it on the paper. So now when I go type it, I'm reading it again and I'm typing it again. After I typed it, I read it again and then I revised it one more time. So I had like 3 different revision periods per like chapter that I did. You know, and after I finished, I think after I finished writing, you know, because Mario Golden always says, you know, get started. Just get started, get started, get started, get started, get started. Don't think about how to do it or the challenges that are going to come in here. You know what I'm saying? I never thought about that. All I knew was I was going to get my product and I was going to have it ready. So, you know, after I got done writing the book, you know, I let a few people read it. Not too many, just because I was trying to keep it under wraps. But you know, I let a few people read it to give me their feedback. They gave me feedback. Then I went on to making my cover. So the cover is important. You want an appealing cover. Now, I don't know if y'all think my cover is appealing, but you know, I kind of like it. Like I kind of like the structure of my book. You know, and this is just like it's like YouTube when somebody makes a thumbnail. And that's what gets you to click it. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how the cover of your book has to be, or that's what I learned. So, you know, I tried to make my cover as, you know, I'm not going to say abstract, but I just tried to make it as clean and engaging as possible. When somebody looks at it, I want them to be able to be like, man, I want to pick that up. I wonder what's inside of that book without even looking inside of it, you know, on the outside from the title and the cover. You know, so you want to have a nice professional cover. I got my cover done I went on Fiverr, and I got in contact with this man named Mizan. He was from Bangladesh. You know, he was pretty good. And, you know, I just kind of, I took the pictures with my cousin, and I told Mizan kind of what I wanted. And, you know, he brought it to life. I know I keep showing y'all, but Mizan brought it to life. This started off as a little regular picture. You know, I told him I wanted the little puzzle because you know constructing essence, so you're constructing yourself. So that's kind of what I got going on here. So the puzzles is constructing me, and then you know I'm from Atlanta, so the picture that I took, when I took this picture, I was in front of a brick wall, and there's a lot of graffiti in Atlanta downtown, and you know that kind of inspired me to do the graffiti look too. So you know that was just my own little spin and touch on it. But so then I got my cover made. You know, you gonna have to invest some. You might have to invest some money to get you a good little cover made. You don't want to just do any old thing, because this is your product, this is what you're showing people. So you want it to look as good as possible. So you know I invested some money into that, and it was a great result. I loved it. And then after that, so you know once you got your cover, you got something good to say. You say it well. It's something out there that can help people. It don't even have to be a non-fictional book. It can be a fictional book. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you desire to do. Everybody has their own desires. You know, I decided to make a human development and self-development book to help people open up their minds and just expand their lives. You know, that's what I made this for, to help. Some books are made to just strictly entertain. Some books are made for kids. Some books are love stories. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter what kind of book you have. Just get started. Get started, write, finish writing, get your cover made. Period. If you want to write a book, that's is nothing else to it. Like, start, write, get your cover made. You know, and it's gonna take as long as it's gonna take. But when you really determined and got that drive to get it done, then you will get it done. I promise you. I done ran into a lot of days where I was like, man, I don't know what to say. You know, sometimes I really didn't know what to say, but then I'll come back to it, you know, and that writer's block would be gone, because you know I wasn't gonna let that stop me. But after I got my my cover made and stuff like that, I had looked into what was next, because I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know. So you must get an ISBN number, right? The ISBN number basically controls distribution, things like that. So I was looking into getting my book published through a whole nother company, right? And then they would have owned my ISBN number, and they wouldn't have owned the contents of the book per se, but they would have owned the distribution where I could have sold the book. If I wanted to change something, I would have to contact them, right? So this is a little, I think it's like 12 digit code. It's a little 12 digit code, and it was like $125. Like I said, you're gonna have to invest. You're gonna have to invest into this. You're gonna have to invest. But I thought it was a great investment, because now I can take my book to Amazon and then take it out, or I can sell it through Lulu and take it out, right? So I didn't want nobody to tell me like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's my book. I wrote it. You know what I'm saying? So buying this ISBN number is very important, and a lot of people might not think about it. You know, they'll probably ask you. That's something that you need to have if you want to self-publish your own book, your own ISBN number. It's $125. I forgot the site that you get it from, but all you have to do is look up ISBN number, and then it'll take you to it. You know, and I invested into that. That was $125. So next, after I did that, I think I went into copywriting. To copyright your book, your book is automatically copyrighted once you write down. Like, once you write it, once it's on that paper, it's already copyrighted. But the only difference is if you don't get it legally copyrighted through the system, then if somebody steals your work or they copyright your work, you can't sue them. Now, it's still yours, you still protect it, but you just can't sue for the damages and stuff that they did. So I decided, you know, I'm gonna spend that $65 on the copyright process. It takes some time, but if you have the copyright process in motion, if something does happen, even before it gets approved, then you can still sue, as opposed to if you don't. So that's just like extra protection. You know, it's a lot of grimy people out here in this world. I didn't want to get into that with nobody. So, you know, I went and got the book copyrighted as well. So those two things were real important. Now, after that, the book is yours. You don't really have to worry about too many other things. You can go find a distributor, somebody that can publish the book for you. You know, I published my book through Lulu. They do a great job. They great quality. Like the inside, let me go to one of my chapter pages. The inside looks amazing though. Like, I like Lulu. You know, that's somebody that I would recommend. You know what I'm saying? Lulu is a company that I would recommend. You know, I use them. I looked into a few. I think it's like $5 per book. I charge $35. You know what I'm saying? So I'm making a $30 profit So when you write it and then just think about it. If I buy my ISBN number, whatever, and I'm selling it through somebody else, then they getting some profits. Now I wanted all the profits from my work because I put this work in. Now once you own your ISBN number and all that, now you can partner with other businesses, like other bigger businesses that have better distribution. Now you can partner with them as opposed to you doing it through them. Now you're stuck with them. Now they're kind of over you. It's not more of a partnership. So, writing and publishing your own book, it's a task. Don't get me wrong. It took me some time, but it was definitely fun. I love the whole process of just creating and it's not even my story, but just getting something out there to help people, to serve people. It was fun for me. Now, whatever your reason is your reason, but just get started. Get started. Have something good to say. Have some good content. You know what I'm saying? Create an appealing cover that catches people's attention. You know what I'm saying? Have a great title that explains what your book is about, and then a subtitle that just brings it all together. You know what I'm saying? And then you want to buy your ISBN number. You want to get your book copyrighted, and you want to find somewhere to publish your book. I go through Lulu, and it's a lot of other things out there that people can use, but that's just what I recommend. That's just something that I use. And once you do that, now you own and you self-publish your own book. If the video helped you, just leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Love.